Colin, Pittsburgh Steelers got to 10 wins yesterday. They are now 6-1 with Russell Wilson under center. He did a pregame interview with Bill Cowherd, and Russ talked about how he believes Pittsburgh has all the pieces in place to win the Super Bowl this season, saying, we got the right mentality, the right leadership, the right coach. There's nobody better. We're all seeking number 7.
He missed George Pickens, though, yesterday.
Yeah, he did not look sharp.
Yeah, this offense is a little like Philadelphia and A.J. Brown. It is not the same without a star receiver. By the way, Jalen, okay from the pocket, good athlete, but needs A.J. Brown. Russell Wilson, good athlete, okay from the pocket. These are, Russell Wilson is not Matt Stafford in the pocket or Joe Burrow. That's not what he is. He and Jalen Hurts, movement and a good team around them is part of it. And A.J. Brown not getting the ball in Philly, it's not the same offense. And George Pickens had a hamstring that popped Thursday or Friday. That offense they gave Cleveland multiple opportunities, and the Browns missed kick after kick.
It felt like Philadelphia and Pittsburgh both took their foot off the gas, looking ahead to next week. Hey, Goddard, you're not feeling great? Sit out. Pickens, power down. We need you next week. Pittsburgh, Philly this week, huge game. Quick word on Jameis Winston, okay? I know the internet loves this guy. They think he's so amazing. His speeches are hilarious. Oh, he's a national treasure. Colin, Jameis Winston is a quarterback. It's just not a thing. He's not a good football player.
No, he's
not.
You get way too much reckless. I mean, he's got a nice arm, but he is like Carson Wentz times 6 in the reckless department. Like, he's just pick sixes and interceptions.
Just terrible decisions.
You have to bake in. He's a bad decision maker.
He's not a good quarterback. I know people love him, and the internet thinks he's so cool, and they're rooting for him because of these.
All right. Well, there's no reason to root there. Let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Really, the offense was missing their number 1 receiver? Yeah, so does every team. There's a reason why the Kansas City Chiefs went out and got Hopkins. The Eagles need A.J. Brown. I mean, every single offense under the sun needs that dude as a wide receiver. So, of course, you're not going to look as great or as threatening. This team, the Steelers and the Minnesota Vikings team, I view in the same light in terms of the media perception. And it drives me crazy. It truly drives me up the wall. They keep treating the Steelers and Russell Wilson like they're a great story and not a great team. And it's just so irritating. Because, again, right, they're missing a wide receiver, and they're like, yeah, see? And it's like, you could say that about every single team. And it's just, Russ still hit 9 different receivers. Was 15 for 26, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 101 rating. The run game is what really hurt him. 35 carries, 120 yards, 3.4 yards per carry. Obviously the Browns missing multiple field goals helped them. But the way how I looked at this was a really simple, targeted game plan from the Pittsburgh Steelers. It was simple. We are better than you, so we're just going to play football. We're just going to play regular old football. We're not going to try to do anything exciting. We're not going to try to do anything crazy. We're not trying to come out with this crazy game plan. We're just going to play football. And we're just better than you. We don't got to do anything more than that. And I compared it. It made me think of like a game of one-on-one basketball. When you're clearly playing better than... When you're clearly just a better player than the other team, than the other person. You're just bigger, stronger. You're just better. You don't have to do anything crazy. You don't have to do all these behind-the-back dribbles, these fadeaways. You don't have to launch up deep threes. You just play ball. Yeah, they're going to score a couple points, but I'm going to score more than you. I'm going to back you down. I'm going to hit up a layup. I'm going to pump fake. Just do a little jump shot. I don't have to do anything so crazy. I don't have to go deep in my bag. I just got to play ball. And I'm going to beat you. When I miss, I'm going to get more rebounds than you do. And that's to me what this game was. They only had 6 penalties. They were 2 for 4 in the red zone. The Browns were 1 for 3. They were 6 for 14 on third. The Browns were 2 for 13, right? That's what that means. They forced 3 turnovers. Really only the one really probably mattered at that point in terms of where the game was at. But it was a heads-up interception in the second quarter, which, again, was a gift, but still heads up. You see plenty of times those balls don't get intercepted, or they get fumbled and drop down, and then it's always grabbing the helmet. I can't believe that. So a little heads up like that. I'm sure they were prepped like, yo, he is going to throw some interceptions. If it hits your hands, you better catch it, or you are walking home, man. I mean, at first the game kind of started off and you thought like, all right, man, Browns are coming, let's go. And that was always the bizarre thing about a Jameis Winston. He's arguably the hardest, but definitely one of the hardest players to predict, because he is so wildly unpredictable that you just have no idea what you're going to get. Truly no idea. So he could literally have a game where he looks like an all-time great Hall of Famer, where you're like, this guy's better than Mahomes and Brady combined. And then he has another game where you're like, I can't believe that guy gets to play football and I get to sit at home and watch it. And so it just, I mean, when you're living in those extremes, it's just like, what do you do about that? So when you're watching this game, you are kind of like, if you're a fan watching this game, you're kind of unsettled. You're like, I don't know what game we're going to get from Jameis Winston. Is he going to ball out, or is he going to just give us interception after interception? And you had one of those more weirder, like, in-between games, I suppose. But again, J-Mac's like shocked that Russ is saying, hey, we got the guys to do. What do you want him to say? Oh, I think we're good enough to win one playoff game. I think it'll be tough for us to get to the AFC Championship game. And, even if we get to the AFC Championship game, I really don't like our chances. And honestly, even if we get really lucky and make it to the Super Bowl, gee golly whiz, I don't know how we're going to beat the Lions or the Eagles or the Packers. What do you want him to say? Of course he believes in this team. Of course he's going to be positive and optimistic, as he should. This is a top team in the NFL. And this is what I literally just recorded the other day about the Minnesota Vikings. That drives me crazy. If the Pittsburgh Steelers don't make it to the Super Bowl, don't win the Super Bowl, people will use it as evidence to see, I told you they were not good enough. I told you they can't do it. When teams lose all the time. And I compare it to the Ravens and the 49ers last year. The Ravens and the 49ers were top teams in the NFL. Worthy Super Bowl contenders. You can make the argument the Ravens should have won the Super Bowl and the 49ers should have won the Super Bowl. Totally worthy of it. But they didn't. And them losing wasn't proof that they weren't good enough, or that they're incapable of doing it. It's just one team wins the Super Bowl. And that was the Kansas City Chiefs. And it drives me crazy is because you're not going to get that same level of grace of the Steelers. And it's not, Russ is just not good enough. They're just not good enough. I told you that they were fool's gold. I told you that their record was better than what they were, right? And so it's like, it's a lose-lose situation. That's why, honestly, at this point, man, I find myself rooting. Give me the Steelers, Minnesota Vikings Super Bowl. I know a lot of people probably don't want that, honestly. And that would probably even hurt ratings, quite frankly. But a part of me wants that just so I could be like, that's right. The two teams that you guys doubted all year are now in the Super Bowl. Go explain that now, okay? Go explain it. I would just love to see what the conversations would be at. The media would lose their mind because they wouldn't know what to say about either of those teams. Justin Jefferson, Pickens, Russ, Mike Tomlin, Kevin O'Connell. Like, they just wouldn't know what to do. They really wouldn't. It would be bizarre. Nobody would be able to make any predictions. It would just be nonsense. But the Steelers are obviously a top team. They have what it takes. They've won great games. They've won ugly games. Some of their losses, you could say they clearly should have won that game. Their record would be better if Russ was able to start from the beginning. I mean, Justin Fields straight up lost games. That's a fact. Just look no further than against the Cowboys. I mean, that game right there, Justin Fields just needed to be able to throw the ball for a completion more than 4 yards and they win the game. I mean, he could do nothing that game. That was like a brutally painful game to watch. And the Cowboys just snuck out that win. I mean, and the Steelers would be competing for the number 1 seed, and yet somehow they would say they're not a real contender. And it's like, that doesn't make sense. And I get that the Steelers could lose, that, they have to play the Ravens and the Eagles. Those are tough games. Undeniable. And if they lose to the Eagles, or they lose to the Ravens, it's not proof, see, they're not that good. That's definitely not the case either. So I'm curious to see how this conversation around the Steelers continues to unfold. Because there's still so much doubt And again, I find it irritating that any type of slip, any type of loss, any type of perfect game from them is just used as proof as to why people's original bad takes are correct. And that's not the way it works. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Pittsburgh Steelers? Do you think they have what it takes to get to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.